Hi everyone. Today in this video let us discuss the Montelukast. What is the mechanism of this drug and its clinical uses? What is Montelukast? Montelukast can be identified by the suffix Leucast. Leucast are the one category of drugs. We have another drug like Gefirlukast, and here the suffix AST indicates they are the anti-asthmatic drugs, so they can be used in the treatment of asthma as bronchodilators. And the suffix is also related with the another term leukotriene. So here LUK indicates they are acting on the leukotriene, and finally T indicates they are acting on the cystinyl leukotrienes. So Montelukast is a cystinyl leukotriene antagonist which acts as a bronchodilator and useful in the treatment of asthma. Where this Montelukast is used? This drug is particularly used in the treatment of allergic rhinitis, which is also called as hay fever. And this drug acts as a bronchodilator, as well as this drug is going to decrease the allergic response mediated through the leukotrienes. And it can also be used in the treatment of asthma because the leukotrienes are responsible for the bronchospasm. So it can be used as a bronchodilator. And it can also be used in the treatment of bronchospasm which is induced by the exercise. During the exercise, the bronchial should be dilated in order to produce a more gaseous exchange. But in few of the people, the bronchioles are going to be constricted, resulting in a sudden difficulty in breathing. In such conditions, Montelukast can be given before the exercise such that it can decrease the sudden attack of the bronchospasm during the exercise. In this way, this drug is particularly used as a bronchodilator as well as an anti-allergic substance. And this drug can be combined with the antihistamines. Particularly, we have one of the combination Montelukast plus levocetirizine. Levocetirizine is a second generation antihistamine. So this drug can be combined with the Montelukast, which can be used in the treatment of allergic rhinitis. And this drug can also be used as an off-label purpose in the treatment of chronic urticaria. So today in this video, let us see how this Montelukast is going to act and what are the side effects and clinical use of this drug. So first of all, let us see the structure of this Montelukast. Even we can observe a large structure, but here we can observe a simple structural feature in the Montelukast. So you can observe here one of the phenyl group is there and here another phenyl group. These two phenyl groups are attached by a carbon bridge. So this is 1, 2, 3. So a 3 carbon bridge is there in between the two phenyl groups. That's why Montelukast chemically belongs to the category of diphenyl propanoids. Now let us see how this Montelukast acts. Within the cytoplasm, the nuclear phospholipid membrane can be cleared by one of the enzyme phospholipase A2. So this is the cytosolic phospholipase A2 which can act on the nuclear membrane. And when this enzyme is going to cleave these phospholipids, it can release one of the important mediator, that is the arachidonic acid. This arachidonic acid is a C20 fatty acid, and you can observe it is having the 4 double bonds and 1 carboxylic acid. And these double bonds are not conjugated, they are separated by 2 single bonds. And here where the first double bond is present. So let us start the numbering with the carboxylic acid. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first double bond is present at the 5th position. This arachidonic acid is also called as icosa tetraenoic acid. That means it is having the 20 carbon fatty acid with 4 double bonds. So arachidonic acid is having the 4 double bonds at the 5, 8, 11, 14 positions. Now this mediator can be converted into prostaglandins as well as thromboxanes by the cyclooxygenase pathway, which is simply called as COX pathway. But at the same time, this mediator can be converted into leukotrienes by another pathway, lipoxygenase pathway. So since here the first double bond is present at the 5th position, the enzyme that is going to acting on this pathway is the 5-lipoxygenase. Now by action of this enzyme, this arachidonic acid is going to be converted into another intermediate. This is the 5-HPET. 5-hydroperoxy icosa tetraenoic acid. The arachidonic acid is also called as icosa tetraenoic acid, that is a C20 fatty acid with 4 double bonds. Now this is the 5-HPET where HP indicates the hydroperoxy group is attached at the 5th position. And here you can observe that by addition of this hydroperoxy group, the double bond is just shifted to the adjacent carbon. So double bonds are not reduced. Still this is having the 4 double bonds. Now this 5-HPET, that is a 5-hydroperoxy icosa tetraenoic acid, is going to be converted into leukotrienes. And again here the 5-lipoxygenase enzyme can act on this 5-HPETE such that it is going to produce another intermediate. This is the leukotriene A4. What is the structural modification in the leukotriene A4 compared with the 5-HPETE? In the HPETE we can observe the hydroperoxy group at the 5th position, but in the leukotriene A4 we can observe a epoxide bridge between the 5th and 6th carbon. So this is the leukotriene A4 that is obtained from the HPETE by the action of the enzyme 5-lipoxygenase. This leukotriene A4 is then converted into further leukotrienes. So this LTA4 is going to be converted to another important intermediate. This is the leukotriene B4, and this step is going to be mediated by leukotriene A4 hydrolase. Because leukotriene A4 is having an epoxide bridge at the 5th and 6th position, which is going to be cleaved by hydrolase enzyme, so that we can observe a hydroxyl group attached at the 5th position, and we can also observe another hydroxyl group in the leukotriene B4. And this leukotriene B4 acts as a chemotaxic substance. It stimulates the infiltration of the monocytes and macrophages such that it can increase the allergic response. Similarly, this leukotriene A4 can be converted to another important intermediate, that is a leukotriene C4, and here this step is going to be mediated by LTC4, leukotriene C4 synthase enzyme. Again, you can see what is the structural modification. Again, here the 5th position, the epoxide bridge is going to be cleaved such that it is going to produce a hydroxyl group. But another important structural modification is that, but at the 6th position it is going to be attached by a peptide chain, and this peptide chain is made up of cysteine residue, which is attached with the glycine as well as the gamma glutamate. In this way, LTC4 is now added with the cysteine residues, so that's why this is called as cysteine leukotriene. And this cysteine leukotriene C4 can transport it out of the cell, and it can act on the other cells in order to produce the cellular response. Now this is the structure of the leukotriene C4, and we have seen it is having a peptide chain at the 6th position attached by alpha configuration, and this leukotriene C4 can be converted into another important intermediate, leukotriene D4, which is having a small peptide chain at the 6th position. You can see that the gamma glutamate residue is going to be cleaved so that it is having only cysteine and glycine residues. And then this leukotriene D4 can be further converted into another metabolite, that is a leukotriene E4, which is having only cysteine residue. So in all these three mediators, leukotriene C4, D4 and E4, all these are having the cysteine as a common amino acid. So these are the cysteine leukotrienes. Now these cysteine leukotrienes can act on the cysteine leukotriene receptors to produce few of the cellular activities. Now this is a cysteine leukotriene which can act on the different types of cysteine leukotriene receptors. They can be classified as cysteine leukotriene 1 and 2. But the important cysteine leukotrienes like the leukotriene D4 and C4 are mainly acting on the cysteine leukotriene 1 receptors, and when these are going to bind to this cysteine leukotriene 1 receptors, which are G protein coupled receptors, and when they are going to be activated, they result in the various cellular activities. First thing, they can produce a bronchospasm by contraction of the bronchial smooth muscle, which results in the asthma. And particularly in the exercise-induced asthma, the leukotrienes can induce the sudden bronchospasm. And they can also increase the proliferation of the smooth muscle such that the bronchial activity can be reduced. And they can also increase the vascular permeability by acting on the vascular smooth muscle, which results in the edema in the blood vessels. And they can also activate the eosinophils. Eosinophils are going to be activated and they are going to be infiltrated into the bronchial smooth muscle, which results in the inflammatory response within the asthma. So infiltration of the eosinophils is one of the important action of the cysteine leukotrienes. And they can also stimulate the mucus secretion. The mucus can be more secreted from the epithelial cells, which increases the further bronchospasm. In this way, cysteine leukotrienes can increase the bronchospasm, proliferation of the smooth muscles, increase the permeability of the vascular smooth muscle resulting in the edemic conditions, and they can also stimulate the infiltration of the eosinophils, monocytes, macrophages, and increase production of the mucus, increase the bronchospasm, and asthmatic attacks. Now the montelukast is one of the drugs which is going to block the cysteine leukotriene receptors, thereby it is going to inhibit the action of the cysteine leukotrienes, and it will prevent the cysteine leukotriene induced bronchospasm and mucus secretion and infiltration of the eosinophils. That's why montelukast can be useful in the treatment of asthma as well as the allergic rhinitis, where the leukotrienes play an important role in reducing the bronchial activity. What are the side effects? We can observe few of the side effects like the headache, dizziness, diarrhea that can be commonly observed with many of the patients, and Montelukast acid can also produce some abdominal pain and fatigue in the patients. How it is given? Montelukast acid is given as a tablet form. It is available at the different doses such as 4 mg. So 4 mg tablet is given as a MD tablet, that is a mouth dissolving tablet, which is a chewable tablet that is suitable for the children, and it also available as a 5 mg as well as 10 mg. And this drug is given once daily. Particularly it is preferred at the night time, and dose depends on the age of the patient. In the children it can be started at the 4 mg once daily, and less than 15 years it can be used at the 5 mg, and if the age is greater than 15 years the dose can be increased up to the 10 mg. In this way this drug is given as a once daily at different doses based on the age of the patient. So that's about the Montelukast. Montelukast is one of a cysteine-leukotriene receptor antagonist. It blocks the action of the cysteine-leukotrienes like the leukotriene C4, D4 and E4, which are responsible for the bronchospasm, smooth muscle proliferation, increased vascular permeability, infiltration of the eosinophils, and increased release of the mucus. All this can decrease the bronchial activity. So Montelukast can be used in the treatment of asthma as a bronchodilator, as well as it can reduce the bronchospasm induced during the exercise. And this drug can be used along with the levocetirizine in the treatment of allergic rhinitis. So that's for today. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel, share this video with your friends, post your comments in the comment box. Thank you for watching this video.